Hello, so today I'm going to be VOD reviewing one of my Set 13 games. So this time I'm going to be doing the talking in post just because I don't have this VOD readily available. So I'm just going to look at it and talk about it. I'm going to take Caretaker's Ally here because I just want to try and play around whatever 2 cost I get to try and try out different units that I haven't tried out before. But yes, this is Set 13. This is PBE, so this is before the game has fully released. Just to get a little sneak preview and start practicing and learning some of the units and a lot of the changes that are going to be happening. The set is going to release Wednesday, I think, this next week, next patch day basically. So very exciting, especially if you're looking forward to Set 13. Make sure to like and subscribe because I do daily VOD reviews similar to this, and it will be a lot more informed, a lot more intricate on what good comps are and stuff like that come next week when we actually have the final patches of the set, and then we're releasing into the real instead of just being in PBE where everything's changing almost on the daily. But anyways, I took Caretakers here and I hit Akali. So I want to play Quickstrikers. Now you'll see me putting it in the team planner. I'm actually just going to tab out so I can show you what the board is that I want to play. So Quickstrikers, because now that I'm doing it in post, I can actually just give you the commentary with a little bit more detail. Quickstrikers, basically it's a 2, a 3, or a 4 trait, and basically just gives them a bunch of attack speed that increases based on missing health, so they kind of stack up if your enemy has very low health. So they're more they're kind of like the melee frontline kind of reroll trait, it feels like. There's always one of those in the set usually. And then for Quickstriker, they have this added effect where they'll dash to a new target and they'll gain shielding. So they kind of just go around trying to kill a bunch of units as fast as possible. Now, in my experience, I find that Akali isn't that strong. I found that of them, of the 2 cost ones, Nocturne I think gets a little bit more done in terms of the amount of damage that they output. However, usually if you're playing Quickstriker, you'll probably want to just play towards 4 Quickstriker. One thing that you'll notice is that Ambessa is a 4 cost Quickstriker. Ambessa has 3 traits. She is extremely strong, and she's extremely contested. It's very hard to play towards Ambessa, so a lot of times if you're playing this, you're going to try and reroll for Akali 3, Nocturne 3, Twisted Fate 3. In this case, I got Akali 3 for free basically because I got it for my Caretakers. So I'm going to, my augment that I chose, 2-1, is just going to give me Akalis over and over again, so that's fine. Ambessa is usually hard to find, but Ambessa is very strong, so everybody usually wants to play around Ambessa. She's Conqueror, which is really popular because everybody just picks Conqueror, it seems like, in PBE, and I'm sure it'll be the same way when the set goes live. Just a very easy trait to play, and then Quickstriker as well. But if you want to play for Quickstriker, this is the board. You'll also notice Ambessa's Emissary. Emissary units are very strong. Basically, Emissary is a trait that works as either a 1 trait or a 4 trait. If you have, for example, 2 Emissary in, it will deactivate. If you have 3 Emissary in, it will deactivate. So it's a little bit of a unique system they have going on there. And basically, these are team-wide buffs that everybody gets. So for example, Ambessa, if you have Ambessa in, she'll give your whole team armor and magic resist based on how many opponents you defeat. So if you beat everybody at least once in the game in your lobby, you'll get an extra 14 armor for your whole team and 14 magic resist for your whole team. Garen will give HP to his 2 allies, one on the left, one on the right. Nami will give extra mana, and Tristana will give extra attack speed. So something you can do with this type of board when you reroll is you can reroll to play. Usually you can't really fit in 4 Emissary very well, but here you actually can. So what you can do is you can reroll this board, which is this is like a level 8 board that you would eventually reach. But when you're rerolling for Akali, Nocturne, and Twisted Fate, you can also pick up copies of Ambessa, Garen, Nami, and Tristana, and then you'll hit a 4 Emissary board, which will be very strong. And then with 4 Emissary, you basically get all the buffs. So you either play 1 Emissary, where you get one of the buffs, or you play 4, where you get all the buffs. So this is the board that I'm going to be trying to go towards. So I'm just going to be playing around Quickstriker. I'm going to cap out around Ambessa for late game, and I'm going to try and play around Nocturne, Akali, and Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate seems a little bit more support. He basically throws these different cards. One of them heals, one of them does damage, and whatever. So usually I'll put utility and other stuff on Twisted Fate, and then you're usually trying to play around Nocturne as your primary and Akali as your secondary. I'm not too confident in Akali's strength, but that's the one that I hit, so that's the one we're gonna play. Now back to the game. We just took a couple turns break from watching the gameplay, but as you can see here, in our mid game, I'm trying to put in Automata, which is the other Nocturne trait. And as you can see, I'm trying to put in Conqueror or just Watcher, give myself a little bit of a front line. Eventually you will pivot or I think the correct board is to pivot and just play Emissary because it seems like it buffs everybody. All these buffs that you get as well, like, you know, especially if you have like 3-star Akali, 3-star Nocturne, you get the Garen HP buffs on them. You're basically just buffing your frontline melee units, so it seems like it just works really well together. It makes them all like giga units if you're re-rolling them. So that's what we're gonna try and go for, and then we're gonna see how it ends up throughout this game. But yeah, I'm not sure what items to make. Akali is an AP unit right now, so or in this set she's an AP unit. So, you know, originally if I'm looking at my items on the left hand side, I was thinking of making Crown Guard originally if I wanted to tempo and win, but I think some of the boards are really strong, so I'm trying to greed my items a little bit. There's not much AP items you can really make. Like, there's a lot, but it's like, you know, you don't want to put utility on the Akali, because I probably just want to put like I probably want to put anti-heal and shred on somebody like a Twisted Fate that's not going to be in the front line. And then I'd rather just, like, you know, maybe like a Hodge JG is what I was thinking of trying with one glove, or maybe like a Jewel Gauntlet, and then have some sort of other like healing, like a Gunblade. Basically like just like AP frontline items. Crown Guard probably is pretty good. If I wanted to streak earlier, I would do this, but I think in my head I'm just thinking to myself, I'd rather just establish my econ really hard this stage, and I'll greed my items so I can figure it out a little bit later, because I'm still not sure how everything's gonna work out, because obviously, like, it's PBE, it's a new set, I haven't played any of these units. But yeah, it's all good and fun. So we'll see how it goes. Like, you know, it's win-lose, win-lose. PBE is really hard to streak, by the way. It's really hard to get a good idea of strength, because a lot of times in PBE, people are just trying out different stuff. People, like, because it's all normals in PBE, it's like, you know, you might be in a lobby with people that are, like, really much better than you and really worse than you. So then you, like, it's hard to find your footing on, like, understanding, like, where people are falling on that ladder of the board, like when you have to analyze, like, okay, do I win streak here, do I lose streak here, do I invest now, etc. So it's a little bit difficult. I'm just making sure my volume is the right setting. Anyways, let's see on Krugs what we get dropped. Ideally, I think usually when I see like a melee frontline AP unit, the first thing I like to try is like Hodge JG. They did change Hand of Justice. That's what, when I'm saying Hodge, it's the tier glove item. I don't think I show it right here, but basically before it was like gain a random effect. Now it's like when you're above 50%, you gain the 2 damage effects, and then when you're below 50%, you gain Omnifam. So it kind of like they made it more like consistent. So it's not like a straight buff, but I think for a lot of people you might look at it as a buff, which is pretty nice. I'm not sure exactly how broken it is, but we'll see. And then my last items here, I'm looking at them. I could just make Edge of Night, so I think it's probably just gonna be Hodge JG Edge of Night. Edge of Night is something where it just like allows you to de-aggro, so it's really good for if you have units that are dashing around or trying to do a lot of damage in the front line. Make sure that they don't just, like, you know, if they get like targeted by a backline unit and they start to like get melted, it gives them like a second lease at life, which is really nice. So this is my Akali build. I'm not sure if it's like a perfect Akali build, but I just have, like, you know, stacking 2 glove items gives you a really high crit chance, and Jewel Gauntlet gives you like that crit opportunity. So right now my Akali, if she crits, will do a bunch of damage. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure what the best builds are because it's still PBE. We're trying stuff out. We'll see how it plays out when the set actually launches. You know, Akali might be drastically changed in terms of her numbers, which will make different builds a little bit better by the time the set comes out. So look here, it's another silver augment. So I'm trying to pick one, back up, eye for eye. I'm trying to figure out which of these might be good. I just take Corrosion here, I think. I don't think Corrosion is that strong, by the way. Enemy champions in the first 2 rows lose 3 armor and magic resist every 2 seconds. It doesn't seem that strong. I think it would be better just to make like a Spark or a Shiv. But because I don't have Spark or Shiv, and I'm pretty close to hitting Akali 3 at one point, here if I roll pretty aggressively on level 6. So I'm thinking to myself, this is probably the strongest of these options right now. And I just wanted to try it out to see how it is. But my comp is more like a burst damage comp. That would be better with very stall heavy comps. Like, for example, if you're playing something like 6 Sentinel where you have a bunch of armor, or 6 Bruiser where you have a bunch of HP. Like, if you're playing like these really strong frontline boards, I can see how Corrosion might matter a lot, might be a lot better, because like you'll overall lose more armor and MR by the time the match ends, because like the rounds go very long. But as you can see here, the rounds are not going long at all. So I think the silver augment I took is pretty weak. I think I just was too confused to try the other ones. Like they were very positioning dependent. So I said I'll just take something that gives me some sort of like realizable effect right now, and I'll worry about it later. But anyways, this game's extremely high roll. As you can see, I already have what is that? 7 copies of Akali. Yeah, so 7 copies of Akali. Now it's Caretaker's favor, right? So the way it works, my silver augment, the first one, is that every time I level up, I gain a copy of Akali. So as of right now, I basically have Akali 3 if I make it to level 8. That's just the way it works. Because when I level to 7, I'll gain a copy of Akali, and when I level to 8, I'll get another copy of Akali. So I'm totally good for that. I have very few copies of Nocturne here. I remember I was saying, like, you know, when you're playing this, Ambessa is really hard to find because she's really contested. So you usually go for Nocturne 3, Akali 3, Twisted Fate 3, and then eventually you find one. Yeah. I high rolled really hard, so I just found an Ambessa. So now I'm just gonna level to 8, right? Like, fuck the Nocturne, fuck the Twisted Fate. I'm just gonna go Akali, Ambessa dual carry, and the Ambessa is gonna be fine, right? Like, I'll just prioritize making items for Ambessa now, and I'll just play around Ambessa. Like, I've had Ambessa on level 6. It's very high roll this game. I'm not gonna lie. So, you know, take that into account when you see the ending of this game, how things went leading up to it, because, like, you know, when you're in a realistic situation, you can spend your whole game and never see an Ambessa with this comp, right? That's like something you should always take into account. And it's just because everybody's gonna hold on to Ambessa, right? The way you should always look at it is all of these units, I'll put them to the side. Ambessa, Nami, Tristana, Garen. If you're relying on reasonably hitting any of these units, it's gonna be scary, because the emissary trait is so, like, you know, it's like the team-wide buff trait. So people are going to hold on to these units when the set releases. Like, and if you're not, if people aren't, you can be the one to do it. Like, Garen as like a random one-off frontline unit is insane. Because not only is he a frontline unit, he'll also, if you just put just Garen on your board, he'll give 20% of his max health to the next 2 people. Like, he's literally buffing 2 other units, right? Ambessa is giving armor to your old team. Tristan is giving attack speed to your old team, etc., right? Like, you know, these are units that, like, you see them, you probably want to hold on to them just in case. Because if you have a vacant spot on your board, you just play them, and you're good, right? Like, Nami's really good to play with somebody like Heimer, or Visionaries. Like, Heimer is somebody that scales off of, casting multiple times. So if you have a unit that just gives your guy free extra mana, it's like, okay, GG, I guess. That's pretty cool. As you can see, this college is getting deleted. This guy's like the powder hero augment, which is pretty interesting. I think this family powder line got a little bit nerfed, and it's like all over the place. Something you'll notice that my Akali 2 with 3 items, and Ambessa's kind of like, you know, depending on if she lives long enough, she's doing almost as much damage as the Akali. That is a bit scary in some situations, because what that means to me, as like somebody who's trying to like figure out what's good and what's bad in the set, I think that either my Akali build is trash, or Akali herself isn't that valuable as a unit. Because, like, you know, if you're investing, let's say I didn't have caretakers and I was investing into this reroll board. If Akali 2 and Akali 3 isn't going to outscale like an Ambessa 1, Ambessa 2, then I could have just used my gold to roll on level 8 odds instead of level 6 odds, because I have a better chance of hitting other quality units on level 8, right? Like, that's like usually the case. Now, I know Ambessa, I said don't structure your game plan around Ambessa, but I'm just saying, like, if it looks like you're uncontested, like, you know, I think Ambessa would be the better carry, right? It's just something to like look at in terms of like performance. I'm pretty sure Nocturne does do a lot better. So, but this video, you know, we've already committed that we're just gonna push levels here because we already found 1 copy of Ambessa, so we'll figure it out later. But yeah. Also, Gangplank, I don't know if they're changing it. We'll see like other PBE patch notes or how it plays out. But Gangplank seems very, very strong, by the way. I think that's the one that everybody is like starting to realize, yeah, Gangplank is busted. So, you know, hopefully they address that in some way. I think they didn't in the last update. So hopefully if there's another update before PBE ends that they fucking nerf Gangplank. But, you know, we'll see how it goes when the set launches. But that's like the little sniff sniff nudge nudge, like holy shit, like what the fuck is that unit's damage, you know? So here I already made Sterix. I didn't put on my Ambessa, just a little bit clustered, like, you know, playing the board and stuff like that. Just figuring out what I had to do at which moments. But yeah. Double items on Ambessa. So now we can look at the damage. So this is Ambessa 1 versus Akali 3. So pay attention to the damage numbers in some of these fights. Because now Ambessa has 2 items, Akali has 3 items. Let's see how the damage compares. Because, you know, hitting a 3-star Akali normally would be very difficult just because you have to reroll. So you wouldn't be able to, like, roll to level 6. You'd probably only hit it right now and you'd be stuck on level 6. Here I'm pushing levels that I'm level 7 with this board. Obviously, I haven't hit the full board yet. I still need to find Garen and all of the other emissary units. But if you look at the damage, Akali, right? This is what I was saying before, why I think Akali is pretty bad. Ambessa is doing like 60% of the damage that Akali is doing, right? It's very close in damage numbers between Akali 3 and Ambessa 1. Now, obviously, Ambessa, I think most people have agreed that she's very, very strong. And maybe I built my Akali wrong. Maybe there's like a better set of items to put on the Akali. Here, Not Today would be pretty useful because I already have an Edge of Night. And then there's this one. Now, I'm gonna say something here. We'll talk about it after, but there's this trait, right? There's these sister traits, or I don't know. I call them sister traits because the first one I saw was sisters, like Vi and Jinx. But they're like these dual traits where they give you a copy of each unit and like it juices them up. So this is like trait, martial law. So it gives you a trait if you have Ambessa and Caitlyn in. And when Ambessa casts, Caitlyn fires an empowered attack at the target, dealing 225% damage, which is nuts, by the way. And then Ambessa gains 30% of Caitlyn's attack damage. That's also insane. So basically, these are like hero traits for like sets of units because of arcane lore reasons. If you watch the show, like season 1, season 2, which I won't get into here, just in case there's spoilers for anybody. But like, I'm gonna be honest. Some of these are like there's like a small subset of these that are ass because of like what the buffs are and like the units that they give and like how the board plays out. But like most of the time, these are fucking broken. They are so broken. Like, I don't understand. I was like, maybe it's just me, but like I'm playing around Ambessa and I just got offered an augment that not only gives me an Ambessa, it gives me a Caitlyn, which if you don't know, Caitlyn's a 5-cost unit, right? And then it juices them up. It's like hero augment for Ambessa. Out of nowhere. Do I deserve this? No. Like, what? Like, what I'm trying to say is put it into perspective, right? Like, this is a gold augment, right? Another gold augment that exists is gain 2 random 5 costs and gain 2 random components. Or gain a couple random components. Like, think about it. I just got a 5 cost and an Ambessa. And I'm playing Ambessa. And it juices them up. It makes them stronger. Whenever this Ambessa casts, Caitlyn's gonna fire a rocket. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, hello? Like, it's crazy. Did you know there's one of these? I think you'll see it in this game and exactly. There's one of them that gives you 2 5 costs. There's one of them that gives you a Jinx and a Savika, and it juices them both. And Savika's really strong, and Jinx is really strong. It's like, what? It's like, huh? Look at this Caitlyn, by the way, because, like, the 5 costs in this set right now, they're very, very strong. So, like, I don't know how they deal with, like, this like, paired up trait thing. Some of them are really bad, right? There's a prismatic one that is Heimer and Echo. That one's trash because it's prismatic and it gives you 2 4 costs and they don't really fit together really nicely in the board because Heimer's all about scaling cast and then Echo's all about burst damage, so it doesn't, like, they don't synergize really well with each other. But, like, I've been losing my mind. Like, I think right before this live video, I was like ranting to my chat about how tilted I am about these like particular ones. Now, obviously, like, they're fun. I'm not saying like they're bad. Like, you know, it's just like for me at least, I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, like that's such a bailout, right? Like now, because like the whole point is like, let's say I didn't have an Ambessa already, right? Let's say I was just playing this board and I didn't have an Ambessa. Like, it literally gives you a copy of the unit. That's the biggest thing, right? It gives you a copy of the unit. In a lot of cases, it gives you a copy of a 5-star, right? Or, sorry, a 5 cost. it gives it to you on 4-2. That's when these are offered, which is before the anomaly round, which is coming up. I'll talk about it if you've never seen the anomaly. So not only that, you can also juice up one of the 5 costs that you get, because you're gonna hit the you hit them before the anomaly. It's not even like you have to like high roll on your roll down, and then you don't even have to roll that much, right? Like right now, like I know Ambessa is really contested in this lobby because she always is, but I'm not even like, let's say I didn't have an Ambessa and I really needed an Ambessa, it just gives you the Ambessa. It's like, what? And then like if you're playing flexibly and you have items that you can adjust for these, it's like it's definitely gonna make you stable. It literally gives you a copy. Like it's crazy. It's so crazy to me that these things exist in the game. Now I don't know how they're gonna balance them, but like all of them are broken except for like 2 of them. I think like 2 of them are pretty ass and all the other ones are fucking broken. Like there's no way, right? And like, okay, and I need people to let me know also, like, is it just a me thing? Like, am I misunderstanding something in how I'm assessing the strength of these augments? Because I heard somebody tell me, like in a chat one, like in like somebody's Twitch chat, they were like, martial law is really bad. You don't have to be good at the game to read it and realize it's not good. And I'm like, I think about this game, I'm like, how is it not good? Like, maybe it's like the comp that I'm playing. Like, maybe if you had martial law and you don't have like a sniper build for Caitlyn, like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna level for Kog'Maw. You want to see what my board's gonna be? Watch. I play Caitlyn sniper. You play Kog'Maw. Look, sniper for Caitlyn, and now I just put items on Caitlyn. Right? I put my last item on Ambessa. I put items on Caitlyn. GG. I'll just put a bunch of swords on Caitlyn. Ambessa's gonna have giga juiced damage. Like, GG. Like, what? And this is a level 9 board. And everybody's juiced to fuck because of Emissary. Emissary also gives mana, right? So when Ambessa casts, Caitlyn fires a rocket. Guess what? Ambessa's casting a lot better because Nami's giving her Emissary mana gen. It's like, what? Huh? Let's get Automata in for the Nocturne and the Kog'Maw. But yeah, I'm just steamrolling everybody. Now, obviously, it's very high roll. You know, some of them are a bit harder to fit in. I think I played the Jinx one, the Jinx Vi one, but that one felt broken too. So like, I don't know what's going on. Here, this one says I gain 60% more attack from all sources and I have 2 sword items. Ambessa scales really hard off of attack. So I'm kind of down to just like evolve the Ambessa here and we're good to go. Yeah, just bang. I think this also applies to the martial law augment. Like maybe she'll gain some more that way. But now I just have a giga juiced Ambessa 1, which by the way, this is an Ambessa 1. It's not even like an Ambessa 2 or anything like that. But eventually I want to put like, Ambessa has a little bit of like Omnivamp scaling based off of her AP. So you might want to put like a Giant Slayer on her. It might be pretty good. But in this point in the game, like this is just the comp, right? I have a Kali 3, I have Ambessa. I could roll for Ambessa 2, but because I hit martial law, like I have 2 copies of Ambessa, I'll just wait for other people to die first so that I'm rolling uncontested because I'm going to be extremely stable, right? I just have a juiced up Ambessa now. So I'm just good to go. But yeah, this is the game so far. Hopefully, like I'm ranting in like what I presume is like a fun, enjoyable way also. I'm not like trying to like spread hate in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying like these augments look really ridiculous, like just the amount of resources that they give. So I would keep my eyes peeled for them and kind of have like a little bit of a game plan for if you hit them, like how to play around them. So for example, this is like a setup that works really well with martial law, right? So this is something that, you know, if you see martial law, you might want to like angle yourself this way, or this is like something you can pivot into if you don't have the completed board. Stuff like that is what I mean, is what I'm saying. But yeah, it's just like, you know, I don't get it. You know, it feels like a power crept version of other augments that exist, right? There's like augments that are like gain random 5 cost. And it's like, you know, you have to like play flexibly around it. Here it's like gain 2 5 costs that buff each other. Because I know this one gives you a 4 cost and a 5 cost, but Ambessa, let's be real, she's kind of fucking broken. So she's almost like a 5 cost because she's like a triple synergy bot. Like fucking, like you can put her on any board and she'll help out the board, it feels like. And even if you don't like this one in particular, there is one that gives you a Jinx and a Savika and they're both 5 costs. And it's like, huh? And they juice each other. It's like, what? It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Here I'm probably gonna make Giant Slayer. I just want attack speed mostly on the Ambessa right now. I have a lot of attack damage, so I'm gonna make a sword item for sure. IE might be good as well. I'm down for IE. But I think for her in particular, I think balancing my intense amount of damage with damage amp that I would get from Giant Slayer, I think it just works out okay. I'm kind of down for this type of setup. I'm not sure if Giant Slayer is the best item on her. I just want to make sure that I have another sword item so she gains a little bit more AD. And we'll see how it goes. Now, I'm losing against this guy. It looks like, I think. Or it's really close, actually. Oh, never mind. Akali cleans up. Nice, Akali. Maybe Akali isn't that bad, but it just feels like she's not that good. Here, my Ambessa just died early, which was the problem. So Akali kind of had a chance to clean up. But once I have Ambessa too, she'll probably be tanky enough that I won't have to worry about her just dying to nothing. Right, if you look at it right now, I basically did no rolling, right? Oh, this is the board I was saying, right? So this guy got the trait Unlikely Duo. Jinx and Savika gain 10% attack damage and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? You get a Jinx and a Savika. Savika's arm is luckier. They grant each other mana. It's like, what? It's like, huh? It's like the only way these traits are bad is if the 5 cost is bad. You know what I mean? Like, let's say Caitlyn didn't fucking function properly. Then this augment is bad. If not, it's fine. I just play around Caitlyn. This guy's a Savika too, by the way, which is kind of crazy because he's level 8 rolling. He actually has another Savika on bench. I don't know how he found so many Savikas, but whatever. I also think there's a slight amount of tailoring. So I think he got offered the Savika because he was playing Chem Barons. The same way I got offered Martial Law because I was playing around Ambessa. Whenever I see these trait augments, it's very rare that I see it without having any of the traits in my board. So I think there is a slight tailoring for it. Be careful about that, or be prepared for that. So you can maybe play towards them in a way. But it is what it is. I beat that guy anyways. I've heard that the Savika Jinx one doesn't give that strong of a buff between the two units. I think the strongest one is Martial Law according to the early PBE stats, which are very fake, by the way. So don't take it's like a sprinkle of salt. It's not even like a little bit. It's like the smallest of grains of dropping knowledge there. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But you should just be prepared for these sets like this, like these traits that could exist. I rolled a little bit too late, so I didn't hit my Ambessa 2, but now that I have Ambessa 2, I am expecting to just kind of like ride this game out and win. It was a very high roll game, right? I started and I stabilized really hard around the Akali 3. I had enough gold to like make a level 8 roll down and then set myself up for later. It's a fawn portal at the end, so everybody gets an extra unit on bench or extra unit on their board. This is actually not that good for me because like I'm really ahead of the rest of the lobby, and this might make people like strong for some unknown reason. Like, like maybe they just weren't able to level to hit the max of their vertical trait. So, it is what it is. But now I can play like another frontline unit. I can also play Conqueror. I haven't been Conqueror bonusing my Ambessa. I think that's probably pretty important to do as well. Conqueror, basically as many takedowns as you get like extra stats on your unit. So you can really make Ambessa feel like an absolute monster. Yeah. And then like you saw me, I rolled past like Mordekaiser. I should have just played Mordekaiser. But here I played Darius because Darius gives Watcher for Garen, and it gives Conqueror for Ambessa. So I'm just playing him for like the synergy bot. I think if we're looking for like a better unit to play, it would be Mordekaiser, because who really cares about Watcher when I have Akali 3 Ambessa all juiced up. But we'll see. This guy's Swain 3, Gangplank 3, by the way. He's doing like this. I've seen this reroll a lot where it's like Cassio, Gangplank, Swain as like the rerolls, and you play like Black Rose with form swappers. It's very strong. Swain is very hard to kill. You need a lot of damage to chew through Swain, especially if they do like this cheesy like Archangel Swain setup. It's something that exists in a lot of sets. Like I even Swain in set 11, or sorry, set 12, that if you were playing it, there was like a similar idea because he just gains HP off of doing what's it called? He gains a massive amount of HP off of AP. So it's something just to keep in mind. Also, I don't have any Shred. if I get shred on one of my units, I should be able to chew through the Swain a little bit better. So just something to keep in mind, to be careful of, right? This is the board I was talking about, just like Cassio 3, Swain 3, Form Swappers. The Form Swappers is the main thing that makes it really, really broken. The Form Swappers, they get a bunch of durability. Everybody's been complaining or talking about how strong Gangplank is. So Gangplank, Swain, reroll, and then you just fit in Black Rose seems to be like the go-to. But there's also other variations where you just play Gangplank, Swain, Elise, and then the last Form Swapper, who I forget, I think it's Jace. So, you know, if you hit that 4 Form Swapper, you get a lot of damage and durability, which is insane. Here I'm just highlighting that corrosion because I was talking to chat. It's like I didn't start by making armor because I took corrosion. I know that corrosion's bad and I want to make armor pen. Like, I want to get a Last Whisper or an Even Shroud. But the reason I didn't start with it is because of the because I took an augment to help me with it. Also, what's crazy is that these videos all got unlisted. That's why I haven't had much of the Pokemon music in recent history. But I think like they pushed back and they got monetized again, which is great. Or like you know, like the YouTube channel marked them as unlisted, so my playlist was broken. So I was trying to find like the same songs and redo the playlist, but then like yesterday they just fixed it. I was like, oh, okay, never mind, YouTube was wrong. We'll take it. Here, the reason I'm rolling so aggressively, by the way, if you didn't notice, one guy's going for a Lowy 3. Now, I know it's PBE and maybe just let them hit, but I don't want them to hit because I want to try and see how strong my comp is. I want to see if this is like a firstable comp. I don't want somebody to just cheese me with like an Alawi 3. So I'm rolling to deny the Alawi. And at the same time, if I hit a bunch of Ambessas, maybe I'll just like play around Ambessa. I also rolling a bunch. I'm hoping to hit Caitlyn too, right? There's a guy with like fucking 5 copies of Savika on his bench. It would be nice if I can play it. This is another guy that's playing around Gangplank, by the way. This was my experience in PBE. A lot of people are just all contesting the units that everybody says is strong and just playing them all. And it just feels kind of dumb to me. So that guy's like, you know, there's a guy with a Gangplank 3, but he's still trying to find Gangplank 3, this guy. They're contesting the same reroll. But whatever, I guess. Cool. Go for it. And now it's me against the last guy in the lobby. I think the Form Swapper guy died to this guy. So, you know, I'm just rolling to deny Alawi and to see if I hit Caitlyn too. Obviously, if I had Caitlyn too and I had 3 items on Caitlyn, you know, it's probably better already to put the Hodge off the Akali and on the Caitlyn. Just because, like, the damage that the Caitlyn does will get pushed over onto the Ambessa because of my augment that I have. But it's totally fine. It's all good. So I'm fighting the Form... Sorry, I thought this guy died to the other guy, but he didn't. This is just the Form Swapper guy that I'm playing again. Now I have Armor Pen, so this Ambessa should be able to hopefully take down this Swain in due time, which is great, instead of getting super caught on it. Yeah. Yeah, the Swain's HP is significantly lower because we got through it quite a bit. And now Ambessa is just going to solo kill the rest of the board. Yeah. GG. That's a martial law diff. But yeah, that was the board that I wanted to play. So I wanted to try this out because I thought about it. And I was like, I wanted to look for a board that I can play with 4 Emissary really strong. And it just worked out that it was martial law. If I didn't have martial law, I would play more frontline traits. Like maybe some either synergies for Ambessa or more synergies for Akali or Garen. Just to like make my frontline a little bit beefier. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that they made a hero Ambessa augment and you just hit it and you just win. It's kind of nuts. So yeah, we ended up going first this game. I know this guy didn't really itemize the Gangplank the same way as the other guy. He just kind of itemized Swain Cassio. I think if he itemized Gangplank, he would have beat me. So because that board is just a lot stronger. But also the Gangplank player was contested. So this guy's also not hitting like very aggressively. Because there's a guy that also was playing the same board. As you can see, this guy went second, this guy went third. So be warned, if they don't change anything about Form Swappers before the game releases on next week, be prepared that Gangplank Swain are going to have, like, you know, this is like a similar level of power that, like, Syndra had, you know, so they should deal with it. But if they don't, just, you know, I'm warning you guys, be careful. Be careful out there. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully that was enjoyable. I tried to be, like, you know, informative in this one because obviously I'm looking at it in post. So hopefully there's like a couple things that I talked about. Make sure to look at all of those paired traits as well. I think that they're very important to understand how to play around, especially if you're trying to learn how to play flexibly. It's really important that if you see them, like, you know, we won't have augment stats, so you won't be able to know which ones are actually good versus bad, which is going to be really hard, like, when you're trying to learn. But, like, be prepared that, like, you know, at least the ones that give you a copy of a 5 cost, there's, like, a very low chance those are going to be bad augments, right? Because they just give you a 5 cost. Like, there's other gold augments that give you a 5 cost, and they're okay. They're, like, middle of the pack. This one gives you a 5 cost and juices it up. It's like, you know, if you can find it in your heart to make a board that plays around them, kind of like how I had, which, you know, it's probably good. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and see you around. Bye-bye.